For Honor dropped in 2017, and it's time to ask, what if Ubisoft actually made a For Honor 2? For Honor released back in 2017, and yet it still has a loyal fan base almost 10 years later. This had me thinking, what if Ubisoft actually made a sequel? For Honor is in a really unique position where no other game is doing what it's doing. No other game has this game's fighting style, and honestly, they shouldn't let this opportunity go to waste. In this video, I'm going to be talking about things I want to see in For Honor 2, if we ever get it, and overall what would make it a great game. First up, let's talk about what they should keep. Honestly, off the top, they should keep all the current heroes. All this time has passed, they've tweaked all the heroes in For Honor to make them somewhat balanced across the board. Yes, there's some heroes that fall short, but overall, the game has been the most balanced it's ever been. And speaking of keeping things balanced, when it comes to the core combat system, I don't think much should change here. I think they should keep everything the same as far as the core combat system, maybe make it a little smoother, but like I said before, all the data that they gathered over all of these years that For Honor has been released, they need to keep a lot of the core things the same and mostly do polishing to the game in my opinion. For example, game modes. We got duels, we got Dominion, we got Breach, we got Elimination, we got Skirmish, we got all these great modes, but we also have Tribute, which was a mode that was kind of wasted. Not many people play this mode, and I can get the concept. I know why they released it. It sounds like a good idea, but when you get in a match and you realize you only can play quick heroes, which are assassins and hybrids, things start to get boring in my opinion. I feel like For Honor just isn't built to be a game to play capture the flag on, but that's my opinion. New modes in general. We need free-for-all, and we need more complexity in general when it comes to game modes. This game has so much potential with its fighting system. Adding a whole bunch of really good different game modes to the base game would be amazing. I don't want the game modes to rotate. We need tons of permanent game modes. We already know what Ubisoft can do through all the events. I want great game modes in the base game. Next, we're going to talk about the faction identity. Towards the end, they added the Outlanders faction. In my opinion, I don't know if they should add any more factions. If they do, I hope they add a faction that has a more coherent theme, because the Outlanders are just a whole bunch of people that are put together. They really don't have a coherent theme that tells you who they are. Not like the Knights, Vikings, Samurai, and Wu Lin. Honestly, I wouldn't mind for them to just add heroes to the factions that we already have. Now, I want to mainly talk about things they really should add and really should change about the game. Now, first off, that is the engine. I don't know if they could use Unreal Engine 5 or something like that, but I want an engine that's really good. But at the same time, I want an engine that's super optimized, because For Honor is all about frame rate. And if you're pushing really heavy textures and things like that, it's going to be hard to get a higher frame rate on any device. I want something that looks good, but also performs really good. And hopefully they can get there with For Honor 2 if they make it. Once again, there were some leaks I want to talk about later. But as for the next thing they should add for Honor 2 is crossplay day one. There shouldn't be no period of time where you cannot play crossplay in For Honor. We need crossplay. I know some people may say it's not fair because you got lower frame rate on consoles and PCs can get higher frame rate. It is what it is. I hate it, but I think crossplay would definitely help this game out. Next, I think they should add a better customization system. Now, the customization system is really nice now, and you could tell they're wanting to expand it, especially with all the different profiles you can make for your hero. But honestly, they need to do just an overhaul on the visuals and the rewards that we get. When I get rewards in For Honor, I want things to have some value. Most of the stuff that I get from events and things like that don't really look that great, and it's not really that enticing to go after. Of course, that's just the event stuff, but I forgot what rep you have to get to, but once you get to that rep, it's a really high rep. You get some emote that's just like some balloons and confetti or something. That needs to be changed. We need something crazy at the end. For example, if you get to rep 100, you need some sort of color palette on your hero that glows. I know you have your effects and things, but it needs to be very noticeable and let people know that you've grinded to the very top with this hero. There's not really anything in For Honor that does that right now, and I believe they should go all in on that. Similar to the prestige system in Call of Duty, I want to have something that's equivalent to Dark Matter in For Honor. Make it really enticing to go after. So the faction wars, that was a good concept in the beginning. They later made it less and less part of the game. It was nice to go against other factions to see who would win, but honestly I think the duration of the faction war should be a little shorter, and I also would like the rewards for the faction war to be a little better. It's nice to get the extra steal at the end of the faction war, but at the same time I didn't really feel that involved in it, so I really didn't care much for it. If we make the rewards for winning faction wars a little more enticing, I think people will get more involved. Also, cutting down the time it takes to see the winners and then for things to update, I think it should be at a more rapid pace, and I think that would cause people to get more involved. Next, they should make changes to the progression system. So basically, when it comes to For Honor, if you like a hero, you get him to rep 9, get some good looking armor, maybe get a couple perks along the way, and then you're pretty much done with that hero. Like I said before, there's nothing really enticing at the end to keep leveling up that hero. There needs to be nice armor every 10 levels, something crazy like that. Just something in general to keep players interested in that hero after they reach rep 9. Once I reach rep 9 with a hero, I really stop playing them. There's really not much else to do on that hero. So if they could add some sort of new prestige system similar to Call of Duty, I think this will be really helpful for the game overall. So going back to the leaks, there was a couple of rumors going around that Ubisoft was looking for people to work on the next For Honor. I don't know how true that is. I'll link the video down below that explains all that. It's a pretty interesting video to watch. And also, if you haven't watched Play Hard 2, I believe it's Play Hard 2, that's actually the For Honor documentary. In that documentary, they quickly mentioned For Honor 2. Now, nothing was confirmed in this documentary, but the fact that they were talking about it even then is pretty interesting. It's been about 10 years since this game released. I think it's about time for a sequel. For Honor's in a super unique position. There's no other game doing what it's doing right now. And if there was any game that deserved a sequel, it would be this one. They don't need to let this concept die. I really want to know what y'all want to see in For Honor 2, because I really want For Honor 2 more than any game right now. Let me know down below. Hope to see you in the next video.